Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Like I said, I'm Adele Krach and I'm from Food Focus. Today is the third webinar that we are hosting with Intertek, which they are doing as a build-up towards the symposium that they are hosting on the 15th of September. So if you have not received the invitation and the email yet, I'm sure that you will shortly receive that in this week. And the event is planned for the 15th of September. It's a food compliance symposium, and the focus is on unpacking the risks and the requirements. And like I said, this is planned for the 15th of September at the Premium Hotel OR Tambo. So it's an in-person event. So at last, we're at least going to have that one-on-one contact. And after the presentation from Thavan today, I will definitely give you more information on who should attend, why you should attend, what type of other topics there's going to be, and also the link for you to register. So today we are going to have Thavan Naidoo speak to us about the topic on sustainability. I'm going to introduce Thavan to you, and as soon as he's ready, he will put his camera on and you will see him. So Thavan graduated with an honours degree in food science and technology at the University of Johannesburg, and second by a master's in microbiology at the University of the Witwatersrand in 2000. He has several experience in several industries and has been involved with product development for major brands. As you can see on the slide, he specializes in many of the ISO standards. You can see there it's 22,000, 18,000, 14,000, and all the other SANS requirements as well as quality for ISO 9001. He's also a technical advisor for laboratories, operations, and procurement. And Thavan has a great passion for sustainability and related matters. And that's the reason why Thavan today is going to speak to you about sustainability. Now, you all know that sustainability is a topic, sorry, let me just get a sip of water here. There we go, apologies for that. Is a tipping point has been reached in the world for sustainability, and many organizations, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Organizations are facing an increased challenge when it comes to sustainability, either sustainability issues in their value chain, or either customers expecting, corporate responsibility. So Intertek has a global network, and they've got a lot of knowledge in terms of assisting you. Maybe you can tell the attendees that's in the room at the moment a little bit more about the event of the 15th of September.
Hi all, thank you for joining us today. Okay, so the event will be taking place on the 15th of September. And we are looking at actually catering at everybody. We kind of had more of a food focus kind of vibe originally planned, but we've come to realize in the time of where we are at, where COVID has brought us and where everybody is at the current time financially, it has come to our attention that everybody needs a little bit of a helping hand. So we're going to be focusing on a little bit of everything on that day. So we're going to have some experts focusing from food fraud, where we get into trouble, to sustainability is something that we definitely have to be looking at. And then we're going to have somebody there for small businesses specifically. It's the small guys that are suffering at the end of the day. And with COVID, so many of the doors had to be closed, unfortunately, and we're really looking out for those guys. So next month's webinar will actually be focused on that. So if you guys can be looking out for that, we'll definitely be sending the invites for that as well. We are looking at the 23rd of August. So put that in your diaries.
Okay.
And then, yeah,
Chantal,
so,
and also to say that if any of the delegates maybe have missed the first webinar that we had with Rika on food fraud, you can go to the Food Focus website, www.foodfocus.co.za. At the top, there's a bar that says resources. If you click on there, it will open up the webinars, all the webinars that we've hosted. And the previous one that we did with Rika is definitely there.
good.
And I'm also right to say, Chantal, that your idea on the day of your symposium is also to have some focus groups where people can actually make an appointment and have a one-on-one, face-to-face discussion with a technical expert in different areas. Am I right if I say that?
That's correct. We've got Thavan with us.
But Thavan, I'm handing over to you now, so thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much, Adele. I really appreciate it. Again, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. Just very briefly, this webinar is about sustainability, and I must say that, we have been doing a couple of, audits on sustainability, and what we're finding is that in terms of the social responsibility of the business, and this actually stemmed from the 1970s, and we want to get organizations really looking into social responsibility. There has been this buzz with regards to social responsibility in the business. And we use these resources basically to engage companies and people as well in order to not only to gain profits, but also to ensure that it engages the organization in open and free competition without the deception or the fraud that lies with it. And there has been a lot of discussions on social responsibilities of business, in the market. And what does this mean to businesses, and business responsibility? Because, people have the responsibility to ensure, and companies have the responsibility to ensure that their organizations are operating in such a way that that their staff, when we look at sustainability, that staff are working in an environment where they are happy. And so when we talk about sustainability, the first thing that we are looking at is the social responsibility of the business, and to ask the questions exactly, what does it imply, and for whom does social responsibility apply to? So company leaders, when we're looking at sustainability leadership in terms of social responsibility, they're not only leaders of the business, but also leaders within society and within their society of the business. And we are part of that society and not apart from it. So we have to understand that. And, leading a business from, especially for CEOs of organizations in the 21st century, it requires the delivery of our goods and of our services through the management of our activities, so as to create this wealth. And we can actually see this within the business. But leadership, more importantly, it's and when we look at and leadership is highlighted in all aspects of business. So, for example, I look at ISO 9001, the standard talks about leadership, clause 5, very, very well, and rightfully so, because that does impact sustainability of the business. So it requires the responsibility towards the people, towards the societies, the culture within the environment that we're working, our stakeholders, our employees, which the company operates in, also the stewardship of natural resources of which it relies. So the role of business and of organizations, it has to be legitimate, because it should not also come in conflict with the growth or profitability of the business. And we've got to appreciate that, and it's got to also be an integral part of the successful management practices and sustainable business building. So I think it's also very important that we appreciate that, when it comes to business leadership, that we have focus, we have a strategy in place, we are able to direct the business and the people within the business to a point where we're not impacting the environment, we're not impacting the people, and which impacts our social responsibility. Also, areas within our geographic locations, that we don't impact the environment in that. So leadership plays a very important role with regards to sustainability. So the role of the business in society, has a huge impact with regards to sustainability. And obviously, Harvard University has been harping on this over a couple of years now. So when we look at the contemporary view of the role of business, and again, I really like what Stuart Rose, Marks and Spencer had highlighted, and this was already in 2007, that their organization had stated that while they continue to sell the great quality, stylish, and innovative products, that their customers, employees, and stakeholders expect them to take bold steps and do business differently and responsibly. And I paraphrase this: we believe a responsible business can be a profitable business. And hence, we are calling this Plan A, because there is no Plan B. And I think that's also very important when we look at this, to understand, if we want to embark on the journey of sustainability, we as businesses need to look at how is it going to, how is it going to impact our business? What is our plan? What is our strategic plan? And obviously, we want to be a profitable business, because if we are not a profitable business, then we shouldn't be in business. And I think that is the extreme, essence of this, when we are looking at that. Tesco's transforming business. I am determined that Tesco should be a leader in helping create a low carbon economy. So here Tesco's has said, although they're, they rely on their customers and also their brand, but they decided that, they want to have a low carbon economy, or create a low carbon economy, and also really look at their carbon footprint within their organization. And as a result, they said that we are going to have to rethink the way we live and work. So for Tesco's, it involves something much more than listing a series of environmental friendly actions. And I think, a lot of the time businesses look at, okay, well, we'll have an environmental policy in place, and we'll just, to appease ISO 14001 certification, great, we are now ISO 14001. And I think this stems from the core of the business. So why are we actually doing it? Because we really care for our environment. And this is where Tesco's was coming from. So we demands that we transform the business model so that the reduction of the carbon footprint becomes essential business driver. And I think Tesco's, over the past decade was able to achieve this through their strategic business focus, but also on the environment and the impact that their production had on the impact on their business. So I think when we come back now to sustainability, organizations would need to look at sustainability development goals. And the United Nations, funny enough, had actually created this conference where they looked at sustainable development in Rio de Janeiro in 2012. And what came out of this was the objective of these sustainability development goals was really to address the environment, political as well as economical challenges that was facing the world at the time. And what actually came out from this meeting with the United Nations was that the agriculture is the single largest employer in the world, providing livelihoods for over 40% of today's global population. Also, it's the largest source of income and jobs for poor and rural households. And, as such, we've got to appreciate that since the 1900s, up to current, some 75% of crop diversity has been lost from farmers' fields. There has to be better use of agricultural biodiversity, which also contributes to nutritional diets. It enhances livelihoods for farming communities, and also it's more resilient and sustainable farming that actually does stay in place. So that was the core essence of the Sustainability Development Goals from the United Nations. And we actually, with these figures in mind, it was then very clear that sustainable agricultural practices, like the ones that Intertek has proposed, can have a helping disseminated environmental, social, as well as health and safety awareness and practices, which fosters the agriculture as well as biodiversity by rejecting the use of genetic modified organisms, so GMOs. Unfortunately, in a country like South Africa, we have got, it is regulated that GMOs are allowed, especially when it comes to farming and to maize and to crop. And although we have a GMO Act in place, there is abuse, or there's a tendency to abuse that act, where we're adding more GMOs into our maize. The wonderful thing, though, is that we have countries, our neighboring countries like Namibia, Botswana, but again, Europe does not allow for GMOs, and I think that is also really putting focus on South Africa to say we need to really ensure that we limit the use of GMOs. And I think with Intertek, we really are fostering the contribution of minimal GMOs into product. Now, in terms of the retailer's direction, when we look at sustainability and the directions of sustainability, we have got to, or the retailers, organizations globally are saying we've got to take action towards more sustainable business practices. So our clients, our customers are saying, we want you as the retailer to take action and be responsible for your business practices. We want, as customers as well, we want to take action. we're finding it, and I've just, I had the pleasure of being in Italy this past couple of days, and I've got to say that with regards to sustainability, the customer focus has been rife, where customers are demanding the use of less plastic, demanding the segregation of waste into different components. We're seeing that trend run through. Unfortunately, we do have countries and areas that there still needs to be more work, like Sicily, for example. But government is taking a role and a very active role in ensuring that that the focus point is on the sustainable practices within the retailer as well as manufacturing. So direct operations, that's the first wave of focus. So where we have our primary manufacturers, and then the supply chain has to look at the environmental footprint with regards to the direction of these of the sustainability drive. Now, the business strategies and practices have got to promote the long-term well-being of the environment, as well as society and the bottom line. So again, coming back to sustainable development, we cannot work in silos when it comes to sustainability. So what does sustainability actually mean for us as organizations? So when we look at sustainability, we're looking at the social responsibility of the organization, because in terms of and that's where I spoke about earlier on the leadership. So without social responsibility, if we don't take social responsibility on our staff and their families, that will impact the business direction and the focus on business direction. And I think we can learn a lot from COVID. So where COVID came in, and that really focused on companies to look at social responsibility, where employees coming to work and their families were being impacted, unfortunately, with COVID. We found that the social responsibility of the company, looking at from a human resource perspective, re-looking and rethinking the social responsibility, ensuring that the employees' families were taken care of, really motivated the staff, and they were able to contribute in a positive way to manufacturing, which again promoted lots of things, such as sustainable direction, leadership, as well as profitability. So the organization was able to meet their targets, but also able to meet the requirements of their strategic direction in the business. So again, development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And I think we can learn from the World Commission on Environment and Development that that the sustainable development is extremely important for us to not infringe on current practices within business, but also we are paving the way for our future generations, for them to meet their own needs. Now, in terms of the supply chain that we spoke about, the 80 to 90% that need to act on sustainability, supply chain when we look at supply chain and sustainability, and supply chain does not only impact the, if we're looking at logistics, but it's also supply chain within a business, supplying to the middleman, supplying to the consumer, and also primary manufacturers supplying to secondary manufacturing. What we would look at in this from a supply chain definitive point would be that the logistics supply chain that transports products and the efforts to reduce power consumption, such as fuel, electrical, carbon footprints, needs to be documented when we are looking at green supply chain versus our sustainable supply chain, where we are adding environmental and social performance characteristics of the supplier that ship to and products that flow through the supply chain. So in the past, and if I can just again highlight that when we're looking at supply chain itself, supply chain in the past would look at looking at the green carbon footprint, lowering it, but the sustainability of the supply chain has to also look at the social performance as well as the environment. And once that is done, we are then able to move on to this pioneer phase of sustainability. So what are we addressing in terms of the pioneer phase is that large global companies often focus on the ethical fair labor, which also now creates a proprietary guideline as well as the criteria for sustainability. And we find that there is also a burden on overhead expenses to implement programs, and also the onus is to educate and train and track suppliers when it comes to sustainability. But the benefits that we are seeing from a sustainability point of view when we are looking at this pioneer phase is that we address risk management in the same process, but also we recognize, and there is a recognition for leadership. So we have leadership again, focusing on sustainability. Now, it will soon become an expectation for all retailers and manufacturers to also be accountable for sustainability of their supply chains. So currently we've seen where the supply chain was responsible for the sustainability, and that is the drive that is coming from the customer, the retailer as well. They would also need to make sure that that the sustainability footprints are in place with their supply chains. So the indicators that we need for collaboration of sustainability, we've got to understand that most companies are yet to implement systems, and that's what we're seeing as a trend in industry. Many have focused on labor performance, which is not environmental. So, you might have seen over the years, companies have had the SMETA audits or the CETA audits as well, where you are looking at the corporate social responsibility, but not addressing environment. And what we are seeing, and we have, especially in Africa, there has been this drive for organizations supplying the likes of the United States, where organizations need to be endorsed for sustainability, because companies in the US and Europe are saying, unless you're certified on sustainability, unless you're taking, as a manufacturer, you're taking responsibility for the environment, you're taking responsibility for the for your employees, and also looking at the social responsibility, the social welfare of your employees, but also looking at the occupational health and safety of the organization and the environment, we're not going to be doing business with you. So there has been that drive. So what we're finding is, still over 1,000 different ethical and labor codes, criteria, and standards, are being adopted globally. Where there's no environmental standards that are being followed through. There's numerous competings to fill this void. So companies are saying, we'd want to go for ISO 14000. Can we have a joint sustainability audit that addresses these? And this is where Intertek is coming from. Pioneering companies built up large in-house terms, and there's lots of overheads. So we're still seeing that. There's also an audit fatigue amongst the suppliers, because what's happening is companies are having segregated audits. And what's happening is they're having an ISO 9001 audit, they're having a 14001 audit, or a 17025, or any of these 45,000 audits, which are all segregated. So as a result, they're being fatigued. And the question then comes in, are sustainable supply chain systems to date creating expertise in passing audits? And that's where we're seeing that the Intertek providing this drive, and also the gap for sustainability audits. Companies are now embarking on a new journey where it is they want to take on the initiative to implement the audits, sustainability audits, which comprises of environment, social responsibility, and occupational health and safety, seeing it as one audit. So the emerging pieces in supply chain sustainability infrastructures, what we're seeing is, especially when it comes to manufacturing. So, for example, I put down food safety because, when we look at manufacturing for foodstuffs, the criteria would always be a GFSI requirement. But it's also interlinked with environment, as well as the ethical labor practices. So currently existing, we have got this GFSI requirements, which is being tracked by second and third party audits. The environment is also being tracked by SEDEX and Fair Factories. We're also seeing the ethical labor practices that are now being built in. So we are having this merge of systems from manufacturing to environment and ethical labor as one audit, and it's complying with these criteria that is obviously a requirement coming from our stakeholders. So the mainstream phase when we look at collaboration is what we want to see is not anti-competitive, but also not antitrust. We want to be able to see cost reduction. We want to see an increase in our risk management, and that's the link of these sustainability supply chain collaborations. We're seeing an acceleration now as well of the triad of sustainability, which incorporates manufacturing, the corporate social responsibility, environment, as well as labor practices. So examples of these collaborations in supply chains, and this is just one of the examples that I've highlighted in this slide. So from a GFSI, Global Food Safety Initiative, what we're seeing is the objectives, the GFSI objectives are saying that there's convergence among food safety standards, and we've seen that already with BRC, IFS, FSSC, HACCP, and SQF through maintaining a benchmarking process for food safety management schemes. Now, it also, what we're seeing as well is that there's an improved cost efficiency throughout the food supply chain through common acceptance of GFSI recognized standards by retailers around the world. So we're already seeing this drive and the convergence from GFSI that can be put in, with regards to sustainability. So with the GFSI being our benchmark, sustainability of environment, corporate social responsibility, as well as the drive of labor relations can take organizations back to minimizing carbon footprints and ensuring that ultimately, we have a more productive environment where we are managing all our risks from social responsibility, waste, and as well as it impacts on a positive note health and safety. And with that, I would like to end my presentation. I hope that it was quite informative. Like I said, this is just a webinar. We are running a sustainability workshop sometime in September, and I stand to correction, but on the 15th of September. So we are really going to go into more detail with sustainability and also what is required for organizations in order to get certified for sustainability, which will not only impact food manufacturers, but sectors outside the food industry from a global perspective. If there are any questions, you're more than welcome to liaise and send it through to Chantal. She will then relay it to me. And with that, I would like to thank you all. Adele, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Thavan. Thank you so much for that short and quick presentation. Like we want to inform the delegates, this is just a little carrot in front of the nose to actually give them an idea of what you guys will talk more about on the 15th of September. Currently, I don't have any questions, but Thavan, something that I do pick up, through your presentation was that you said that the most important part of everything is leadership. In terms of leadership has got the biggest role in terms of either deciding which certification to go for, and everything plays a big role when it comes to sustainability as well. If the leader of the company does not see why certain things should happen, then obviously it will not happen. So, Thavan, thank you very, very much. Just to make everybody aware, yes, it did say it is, his name was wrong below his name, but it was Thavan Naidoo that presented. I don't see any questions, so I'm quickly just going to reiterate in terms of the event, the 15th of September. These are the topics that will be discussed by Intertek, and for these different topics, they've got different specialists supporting and attending to present. And so it's on food fraud, defense, corrective action and traceability. There's business risks, there's corporate social responsibility, sustainability, and then very interesting and a lot of information on small business operations during the economic decline, and then hospitality and brand protection. So who should attend? Food manufacturers, everybody that's on the webinar today that attended the previous webinars, and it's an in-person event, like I said, and it will be at the Premier OR Tambo. And what's also very nice is they are going to have what they call a VIP breakaway session. So the idea of this is you can, throughout the day, book a slot with a specialist in one of these rooms, either in terms of the FSA audit or the CSR audits, or business risks. So if you are interested in doing this, please make contact with Chantal .cochran@intertek.com, and she will be able to make sure that she books you for this specific time slot where you can ask your questions in face-to-face to one of the Intertek people. The event will also include a special roundtable discussion with retailers, and then, like I said, the VIP breakaway rooms. If you are a big group of people, they will also give you a 10% discount. So to register, you go to https://intertek.foodfocus.co.za, and there you will be on the home page, and it's got a button that says register now. The cost is 900 Rand per delegate, so it's really affordable, and it's in person, so you will have the time to interact and network with the Intertek team and with all the specialists that they will have there to present to you. Thank you very much, Chantal. Thank you, Intertek, for your time and for this webinar. Like we said, the event will be on the 15th of September. There's going to be another build-up webinar that will be hosted in August, and this will specifically focus on small businesses. And we are looking forward to have you at this event as well. Or if you are aware of any of your suppliers that are smaller than you are, please make them aware of this webinar, because they will get a lot of valuable answers in terms of where to go, what certification must I go for, who do I need to choose, and Intertek will provide the information in terms of the different options that they've got. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you will have a wonderful Tuesday and enjoy the rest of the week until next month. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Adele. Thank you, everyone.